Okay, let's go to our fourth issue. Issue 4, Potpourri.
Republican senators in South Carolina and Texas face tightening races as their Democratic challengers close the polling gap. But after weeks of strong polling, North Carolina Democrat Cal Cunningham was undermined this week by reports of his possible extramarital affair. Still, Democrats are increasingly hopeful that they can secure both House and Senate majorities this November. Also this week, the Trump administration unveiled new rules restricting H-1B visas. What else? Well, Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe declassified a 2016 CIA memo requesting an FBI investigation into Russian intelligence reports that Hillary Clinton sought to tar President Trump with collusion allegations. Oh, and Amy Coney Barrett will appear before the Senate Judiciary Committee next week.
Sagaar, what do you think is the biggest story out of that bunch?
I think that the Senate story is the biggest one there, Tom. I mean, if we see the level of polling out of South Carolina, even small margins in Texas, 2 points and elsewhere, the control of the United States Senate is the whole ballgame here. I mean, President Obama has already been out there saying, kill the filibuster. I mean, Joe Biden said he's open to it. I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to do it. And if they have 53 seats in the United States Senate, if there's shock surprises like with Lindsey Graham, then that's it. That changes the entire face of America in terms of the agenda for a unified democratic government. I was saying the other day, they don't have Mitt Romney's and Paul Ryan's in the Democratic Party. They just fall in line and they vote.
Clarence, your thoughts on that idea that really if Democrats, as they appear to be moving towards, take control of the Senate, the filibuster will go bye-bye?
Sagaar, I hate to pull senior rank on you, but this is the first time in a long time I've heard anybody suggest Democrats are the party of rigid unity, and they never break ranks. I mean, heavens of Murgatroyd, that's been the dream of Democrats for heaven knows how long. But haven't you ever heard Will Rogers' line, I belong to no organized party, I'm a Democrat? No, the fact of the matter is, exuberance is always a problem, something to be concerned about when you get overconfidence. But there's still a lot of division in Democratic ranks. And when these issues like packing in the court or the filibuster reform, that used to be a joke on Veep, and now it's in real life, a real life issue being considered. Then you begin to see the divisions. And Joe Biden, I think, has made it very clear that he's going to stay center, not become a prog. There's time for that later if the Democrats, if they win the House and Senate and hold on to them.
Pat.
I agree with Sagaar on this 100%. I think the Senate is in real danger if Trump is actually down 9, 10, 11 points. And if Democrats do win the Senate, they're going to get rid of the filibuster, because how else you get Puerto Rico made a state, D.C. made a state, the Supreme Court changed, the $4 trillion tax increase that Joe Biden wants. Republicans could stop all of those with 45, 47 votes. So the Democrats, as President Obama said, get rid of the filibuster and go wild for 18 months like LBJ did in 1964 and 65. I think if Biden got in there in his first 2 years and they did not abolish the filibuster and they let the Republicans block them, a whole bunch of them would be thrown out in 2022.
Eleanor.
There's one senator that looks like he's going to win, and that's Mitch McConnell, because Kentucky goes for Trump probably by 30 points. If Amy McGrath wins in Kentucky, then we're in a whole new world. Otherwise, we've got Mitch McConnell as the minority leader if the Democrats take the Senate. And a minority leader, he will probably push the same agenda he did with Obama, that his main goal would be making sure Joe Biden is a one-term senator and he would block everything. In which case, yes, the Democrats would have to get rid of the filibuster. That is not Joe Biden's inclination. He thinks that once Trump is gone, that there are enough Republicans that he can work with them. He thinks he can work with McConnell. I don't think it'll take him a year and a half to figure out he can't, and that's up to McConnell. So it's not up to the Democrats here who are rushing in to pell-mell change the rules. Biden, if anybody, wants to work it like they did in the old days. But if McConnell won't let that happen, then I agree with you. I think the filibuster is gone.
You know, Sagaar, one of the things that's really interesting about the conservative movement at the moment, you think about yourself and some of our other friends, I won't mention their names in case they don't want that, but the intellectual strand of conservatism seems to be moving towards at least a version of Trump's, more nationalist-minded, populist, not so much the Paul Ryan party. Do you think, regardless of what happens in November, that will be the sustaining theme going forwards for the GOP?
I wish I could say yes, Tom. I mean, Pat Buchanan is the guy who basically invented it. But the truth is that I think it's certain the establishment wing of the GOP is very much ascendant right now. They are very much ready to go back to Tea Party style politics like they did in 2010, talk a lot about debt and deficit, not about the issues that got Donald Trump elected in 2016, because that requires an indictment of much of the policies that they also pushed in the same time period. So I wish I could tell you that, national populism is ascended, that this is the moment that I've been waiting for and that we're going to see a triumphant thing happen in 2024. I think it's far more likely that somebody like Nikki Haley becomes the GOP nominee, or at least is the vaunted media star for the next several years. Now, when the base gets their turn at the ballot box and the primaries, I think we'll have a little bit different. But for the next 3 years, that's how I see it.
Clarence, Eleanor mentioned earlier in the show that the prospect of some Republicans, not making it to Washington for the Amy Coney Barrett vote. How do you judge her prospects of winning confirmation to the Supreme Court at this moment?
Right now, this is the polarized Congress that we've become accustomed to in recent years. Republicans aren't going to break ranks regarding Barrett. The days of the pro-choice Republican are virtually gone. And the same thing on the Democratic side. This is a defining issue for both sides, especially when you're cornered. That's not the time that you start breaking up your alliances. You pull together. So it could be, so if she can't get the vote, she's not going to get confirmed. It's that simple.
Pat, one of the things we were talking on a recent show about, maybe last week, I think, maybe or the week before, the idea that Amy Coney Barrett really could perhaps give a jolt to the Trump campaign doesn't seem to have materialized. Do you think that's that's something to do with her or the Senate, or do you think that's more just everything has been absorbed by Trump contracting coronavirus?
Everything has been absorbed by Trump. There is no other issue. When you drive down Wisconsin Avenue in that van and take the helicopter down to the White House and go stand on that balcony and then head over to the Oval Office, this is all we're talking about. But listen, Amy Coney Barrett is a critical issue for the Republican Party. Whatever, I don't care what is involved, if they have to put guys on ambulance planes and wheel them into the Senate for that vote, they ought to do it, because this vote is crucial and it can determine the direction of the Supreme Court for 10 years or more. So I think, and I give Mitch McConnell credit. He's done a great job, and this is the capstone.
Eleanor.
He's going to do it. He's going to do everything he can, including, as I said in my prediction, change the language of the Senate rules if he has to. But the public reception has been tepid and even negative. A majority of people don't think that a president who is on the verge of being repudiated and voted out of office, a Senate on the verge of being repudiated and voted out of office, should be given the privilege of installing a Supreme Court justice that alters the balance of the Supreme Court to 6-3. And I've done some research on this. There have been 7 justices confirmed in an election year. The latest one had been confirmed was July. This is October, and people are voting. This is seen as a power grab by Democrats and by a lot of and by some people who aren't just ardent Democrats. It seems like a stolen seat. There'll be an asterisk over her name, and it will increase the ill will in Congress. Court packing is not something Biden is in favor of. He's spoken out in the past against it, but I don't think you don't say never, because this is obscene what the Republicans are doing.
We'll take the asterisk.
Okay, all right. So
they will too.
But it's not a happy thing in history, Pat.
Well, it's a great thing in history. We've been working on it for 50 years, Eleanor.
All right, so Sagaar, sort of threading the needle a little bit here. One of the things that's interesting about your show, Sagaar, is that you and your co-host Crystal Ball, have camaraderie, bipartisanship, at least in the sense of, finding common ground where you, on paper, have diametric, opposed views on many issues. Do you see any prospect, regardless of who takes the Senate and the presidency in November, for areas of real compromise that sort of bring, at least politicians to a degree, and hopefully the country together in the new year?
Wish I could say yes, Tom, but look, all politics are national now. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, it's going to be war. I mean, between both sides. And that's why when I say I have no doubt the filibuster's gone, that's why. I mean, any Republican would be a fool to vote along with Joe Biden on a particular issue of actual national importance that's polarizing. They'll lose any primary. Probably same with the Democrats. I mean, look, there's always like ancillary legislation and other things that you can get things done, usually in spending, the types of things everybody always agrees on, like sending troops to Afghanistan, but which the American people are against. Everything else, right? That stuff, the actual things along national cleavages, I just don't see it. So, no, I think we're going to be right back to where we've been for probably the last 15 years. I think the only way to actually do it, I think Trump had the best chance to actually do it in 2017, right when he came into office. Him and Steve Bannon, if they'd gone with the Bannon agenda, I think that he would be coasting to re-election with an LBJ 1964 style victory.
Okay, I think we will leave it on that note. Good discussion there. Thank you very much, panelists.